close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
Good evening, everybody. How you all doing? Welcome back to this preview of Arsenal versus Chelsea. And as you can see, we've got a guest with me this evening. Sam, how are you doing?
All right, Daniel, I'm doing okay, mate. Good to see you again. It's been a little while since I was on here, but always a pleasure to be here on here with you, mate, and take part in the rest of the chat. Always an awesome chat here with everything, and look forward to this. Thanks a lot for having me on.
Yeah, it's been a while, mate. It's been do you know, it's been a bit bizarre because since all the restrictions lifted, it kind of don't even feel like we've had a bit of a lockdown or anything like that. It's been a bit crazy. It's been a bit insane the way things have just seamlessly gone back to normal. But it's nice though. I've got to be honest. It's nice, and it's nice to see football stadiums with full crowds.
Yeah, just completely. It's like it never happened all of a sudden, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, and it's nice. I get more of a buzz out of seeing football stadiums with full crowds than the actual football. Like it's just it's mad. It's absolutely insane. Big up everybody in the chat. There's
nice to see everyone.
Loads of you in the chat. So Sam, how are you feeling about tomorrow? Are you confident? Are you nervous?
I'll tell you what. I'm not nervous. No. And I'm not confident. It's one of those games where it's really I think it's really difficult to predict, actually, because we're such a Jekyll and Hyde team. You know, we don't really know what we're going to get. But the thing is, normally against Chelsea, normally we show up. It seems to be a team that we normally get motivated for. We can put in a good performance against. And lately, in recent seasons, we seem to have been Chelsea's bogey team, you know, for cup finals and important games. We beat them at home and away last season. So, you know, normally we sort of have some kind of advantage, mental advantage, maybe we'd say, over Chelsea. But having said that, there's so many factors now that go against us that it's just really hard for me to have any kind of confidence for tomorrow. Really, I just feel very underwhelmed about our chances tomorrow, Daniel.
Yeah. You know, like you said, as honestly, the comments are moving mad. But yeah, like you said, there's a lot of other factors. Sam, what did you make of the game against Brentford? Because it was horrendous, wasn't it? Let's be honest.
Well, I'll tell you,
absolutely horrendous.
I'll tell you the truth. I only saw the extended highlights of that game, and I'll give you a good reason why. I mean, I've been in Thailand for 3 weeks until recently on holiday, and the kickoff time over there was 2 a.m. and I was staying awake for it. And I was thinking, I want to see the first game of the season, you know, of course, you know, Brentford and everything. But everything's been going on with this transfer window, the pre-season, the way the team looked. I mean, everything just looks so crap. And I was like, do I want to watch this? Do I want to stay up until 2 a.m. to watch this? And so I was staying up as long as I could. And basically, just after the team sheet was announced, I knew who the started 11 was. And also, you know, the news had come out that we were missing Aubameyang and Lacazette. I thought, oh God, you know, even though it would be nice to see Martinelli play, you know, I was like, oh God, can I stay awake for this? Like, nah, that's it. I'm gonna go to sleep and I'm gonna see the extended highlights tomorrow. I mean, the next day, and that's what I did. I couldn't be bothered to stay up for it, and I'm glad I didn't because it was a complete shit show, wasn't it? I mean, we just couldn't, match them for intensity, motivation, and it's such a shame. We're Arsenal Football Club. They're Brentford, tiny little club in southwest London, just come out for the first time ever, basically, and. We can't even go and beat them, so it's a bit tragic, isn't it?
It is, mate. It is. What did you make of? And I've been dying to get somebody else's opinion on this. What did you make of the whole thing with Aubameyang and Lacazette? Obviously, we now know it's COVID. Does anyone actually believe that BS that Arteta come out with yesterday about? I couldn't tell anybody because it was something to do with medical privacy. What load of bollocks is that? And fair play, right? I know a lot of people criticize TalkSport for their agenda against Arsenal, but the one guy who actually stuck it on Arteta was that Ian Abrahams guy from TalkSport. And actually, fair play to him. He sort of said, well, look, if it was a hamstring and you said it was a hamstring, then we'd all know. Why it's not a crime having COVID. Why not just come out and say it? So he stuck it on Arteta, and Arteta just dodged the question. And was just going, oh, well, it was something to do with medical privacy. I ain't buying that. I'm sorry.
No.
Are you buying it, Sam?
No, I agree with you, Daniel. I think it's a cover-up for something else that's happened. I've been saying it several places on several podcasts. To me, it just doesn't make sense. The whole explanation around what happened, it doesn't make logical sense. And I'll tell you why. There's a few good reasons. Number one, there is a set protocol set by the Premier League and the FA on how COVID testing is done before a game and how that is supposed to be communicated. And for obvious reasons, of course, people have to know what's going on. So what I don't get is we've had these protocols in place now for a long time. And as it should have happened, we've seen all along throughout the last season, they have this test 2 or 3 days before a match, and if there's any positive results, they get communicated, right? Everyone knows because the club will communicate those results to the world basically, and then everyone knows what's going on. No problem. Okay, it's COVID. Fine, we understand it's happened. Yeah, it's it's a bit of a rubbish thing, of course, horrible thing, but okay, it's happened. Now we know, and we maybe we can bring in someone else to do a job instead, and that's it. We will move along. But to actually not say anything, which is what happened, all of a sudden the players they were absent, and the club didn't say anything. Why? They're just saying, oh, it's illness. I mean, it doesn't make sense that they couldn't say COVID. I don't believe that privacy stuff because it's part of the Premier League protocols to communicate that there is a positive test. So to me, that doesn't make sense at all. And also, part of the whole protocol stuff, I mean, with quarantine and stuff, why all of a sudden is it then that Aubameyang apparently can play? I haven't seen the latest news yet, but they were saying, was it yesterday or the day before, that Aubameyang should be cleared to play tomorrow, where Lacazette can't. Well, how does that make sense then if they were both tested positive at the same time? I mean, there's just so many it just leaves so many questions. And for me, why I think, just to round off my little point here, why I don't believe it and what I think happened is, I think what's happened is there's been some kind of disagreement again off the pitch between Arteta, Lacazette and Aubameyang. They're getting pissed off with what's going on, the way we play, the lack of effort. They're probably pissed off with Arteta because he's obviously an amateur. He doesn't know what he's doing. And there's been some kind of tiff there again. And Arteta's put his foot down again and said, okay, you guys aren't playing. And, instead of communicating that, of course, which would create, further uproar for everyone, they've decided to say, oh, it's illness. They decided to say it was an illness. And then they've had the COVID test. And then Runarsson and Willian have tested positive. Fantastic news for Willian, by the way, who's got more positive COVID test results than goals for Arsenal. That's pretty good going.
Jesus.
So what I think is they went through the whole, as they have to, protocol. They have to go through the test. Willian and Ruderson tested positive, and then then all of a sudden they realised afterwards the PR gang said, "Oh, we can put Aubameyang and Lacazette into that because we said they were ill. We can bung them in under that." So that's what I think has happened. I think Ruderson and Willian have tested positive. Aubameyang and Lacazette have had a tiff with Arteta and were told not to play. And then afterwards, the PR team said, "Okay, we'll say Aubameyang and Lacazette had COVID as well," and I tried to sweep it under the carpet.
Yeah, and do you know what I find? As well with this, because they were all saying as well in the press conference yesterday, should the game have been called off? And Arteta obviously undoubtedly said yes, and I was like, well, of course you're going to say that because we got embarrassed. If we'd had won, you're going to turn around and say, no, we should have gone all right. We should have been able to play. So, like, honestly, this guy.
Yeah, but even the protocols.
This guy, guy, Sam. Honestly, I'm so done with this manager. Like, I am so done with this manager. And do you know the worst thing is, right? Yeah, it's funny how all this comes out of Aubameyang and Lacazette, and then the same stuff comes out about the players are not happy with Arteta's training because he keeps stop-starting them and he's making it too technical. Now, I know some people have said, is it just the players down in tools again because they don't want to work hard? I actually think it's the fact that Arteta is just so trying to complicate things because you can see it on the pitch. Everyone's playing with the handbrake well and truly on. Do you know what I mean? And
tactics,
you know,
the system.
Because do you know last season, right? Everyone was calling start Martinelli, start Balogun, and they started on Friday, but they couldn't do nothing. And they're not bad players; they're decent players. It's just this system that Arteta's got them playing in is horrendous. It is stupid. And people need to, do you know what? It's just mad, mate. People need to wake up and realize that this manager isn't all that. And it's, we've got to win tomorrow. Like, honestly, if we lose, right, then it's going to be well, I already think it's curtains for Arteta. I think when you lose the dressing room, when you lose the dressing room, it's like losing your virginity. You ain't getting it back. Do you know what I mean? Like, seriously. It is, Sam. Honestly, once you've lost it, doesn't matter how hard you try, you ain't getting it back.
Yeah, that's gone, isn't it?
So
that's gone.
I think Arteta's on his way out anyway. I honestly do. I think we're nearing the end for him. It's just a question of when, not if. But it's just, if we don't win tomorrow, it's going to get very toxic very soon because there's fans back now. There's fans back. I've seen. Did you see? It was floating around on social media all the empty seats for tomorrow's game, like all the ticket, Arsenal Chelsea, and it's never been easier to get a ticket. If you want to get a ticket, you could virtually walk down to the ground and buy one at the box office. It's that easy.
Yeah, and
because there's so many tickets still available.
Yep. And that shows you the lack of interest now because of all what's going on, right? It's just become very obvious. And just a quick jump back to the whole Arteta saying the game should have been cancelled thing. That's absolute rubbish because, again, the protocols are very clear. You have to have lost a certain amount of players to positive that are considered first team members. A certain number, I can't remember what number it is now, but it's in the Premier League protocol for COVID testing, and that's if you lose a certain number of players through a positive test, then they can consider you can apply for a postponement. And Arsenal didn't do that because they're nowhere near that amount of if they're saying that happened, and they're nowhere near. I mean, it's not two players because it was two first team players and Lacazette and Aubameyang. So that was complete rubbish. So again, that was for me, that's a complete farce. But yeah, you're right. You could probably, I don't know what it's like now, but you can still go to the Emirates tomorrow and get a ticket for Chelsea, which is absolutely nuts because, I mean, in my lifetime, I don't think you've been able to do that against Chelsea. That's how big that fixture's still been. I think maybe mid-90s you could. Maybe you could have gone to Highbury and still on general sale got a ticket. But ever since Wenger came in, that fixture's just never, you never get close to that fixture unless you're a season ticket holder, or you're one of these membership plans and all of that. So, yeah, it just shows you the lack of interest. I do think Emirates will be full tomorrow because I do think there will be enough people interested in going there and seeing that game. But the fact that it has to go to general sale like that just shows you the lack of interest there is within the fan base.
Yeah, it is. I know a lot of season ticket holders not going to the game tomorrow. I mean, I'm obviously one of them because I got a family barbecue to go to.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm taking my daughter to meet all her family for the first time. So but I've know a lot of season ticket holders that have just sat here and just gone, do you know what? I ain't putting up with this bollocks no more. Why spend money? Like, I put it into context the other day, Sam, right? I'm going to West Brom on Wednesday, which is not too bad. It's a decent round trip. But when you take Man City next Saturday, that's costing me well over almost like, I think it's like 90 quid for the train ticket and then another 80 odd for the hotel room. And when you add that all up, like, it's ridiculous. You pay all that money, and yet what do they serve up on the pitch? It's just pathetic, mate. It really is.
Yeah.
And it's just getting to that point now where it's like, unless the club show something, it's pointless going because it's just going to be the same result all the time. Yeah,
I mean, it's just underwhelming, isn't it? The performances are so shocking, aren't they? I mean, I think there's a lot to be said for the way at the time we played under Wenger. Even the last years we played under him, we were all frustrated that it was the same tactics. We couldn't really get the best results. We were struggling in big games, but most of the time, at least the football was entertaining, wasn't it? I mean, okay, we didn't always get the results we wanted. We didn't necessarily always have the best players, on the pitch, but it was still entertaining. We played an entertaining, attacking type of football that the people mostly still enjoyed. Where this football we're doing now, it's just so static. There's no fluid movement in attack. There's no third and secondary, secondary and third runs off the ball into space. They're just not really there. It's just really mechanical and technical, and it just doesn't work. You can see the players don't enjoy playing it. I think this is one of the big issues with why everything's not working is the players just don't enjoy playing it and don't really want to play it, and you can see it in their body language, and it's just not working. And for Arteta to be this stubborn and keep doing it, it's just putting more nails in his coffin, to be honest. It's like you say, if we keep losing games now, we keep being underwhelming, and we basically have the same start of the season as we had last season, where we're struggling close to relegation zone after the first few games. There's no way the club can continue to tolerate that, surely. So yeah, I mean, it's something has to change very quickly. Either Arteta has to wake up and realize the whole the way he approaches the game, using our players the way he's doing, has to change, or the manager has to change. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, somebody here in the comments has just said they've just checked the availability and virtually every ticket in upper tier is still available. I expected all the club ones to be available because they're like 160 quid. I saw one on there that was going for about 200 quid. So I was like, who's going to pay 200 quid to sit in club?
That's a bit of a scam, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, who's going to pay? Oh, what do you get? You get a free drink and a program. Brilliant. Fucking great. Do you know what I mean?
Can I answer some questions? I see Arsenal Mannix asked a few questions.
Yeah. Knock yourself out,
just,
mate.
I just want to respond to him.
He's on the Odegaard train.
I just want to respond to him. Big up everyone in the chat, by the way. It's always a good chat in here on this channel. A lot of great people involved. Yes, Arsenal Mannix asking me about Odegaard. I said it on many other channels now. I think he's a fantastic signing. When you look at what you're getting, what you're paying, you're paying £30 million for a 22-year-old, very talented player with a lot of potential, very good creative player with great vision. He is a leader. He's the captain for the Norwegian national team. He's, you can see he's a leader on the pitch as well. He helps out. And I think with the right tactics around him again, I think with tactics that suit his style a bit more, you're a bit more open, a bit more free, creative play. He can create a lot more. He can be a lot more devastating. I know Russ keeps talking about his actual numbers, but Russ refuses to look at all the other statistics behind just assists and goals. When you actually start looking at the numbers of what he's doing in terms of forward play, in terms of passes into the box, in terms of chance creation, that's not just the final ball, but actually opening up play and things like that. His numbers are incredible. He is an incredibly creative player. Is actually, when you look at that, what's called forward positive play, those statistics, he was only in the Premier League from January until May last season. But for that whole season, his stats are only second behind Kevin De Bruyne in terms of forward play. Passes completed into the box, crosses, chance creation, all of that. There was only Kevin De Bruyne ahead of him in that stat department, which to me is shows you the kind of potential this kid has. And he can't help having donkeys in front of him like Aubameyang and Lacazette, who couldn't fucking hit a donkey's ass with a banjo. He's creating stuff and they're not putting it away, and that's his role. He's never been a goal scorer. He's not going to be a prolific goal scorer. He's not going to be a De Bruyne like that, or a Frank Lampard or whatever, that type of goal scoring midfielder. His job is to open up play, create chances for the team, and then provide assists. And he's created many chances that haven't been taken. So these are all factors and things you have to take into consideration. And another thing I've seen that's really pissed me off is a lot of people obviously never looked into his numbers and never looked into his actual history and what he's actually done. They're saying, oh, he never did anything at Real Madrid. Well, first of all, when he went to Real Madrid, unfortunately for him, this isn't his fault. Real Madrid started to go into a decline when he went there. That's when they started their shit show and things started to go drastically the wrong way. Not really his fault, but he was part of that, unfortunately. He gets loaned out. He goes to Real. This is the thing. People forget. He went to Real Sociedad, and he was their player of the season. And he actually got, in the month of September of 2019, 2018, the month of September 2018, he got the La Liga Player of the Month award. And that's ahead of players like Messi and all these other big stars in the league. So, to say, and then he was 20 years old. So to say that this kid hasn't got potential and, he hasn't got somewhere to go at the age of 22, and you've paid only 30 million quid for him, right? So what kind of gamble is that? It's not a big gamble at all, if you ask me. I can't see another player, seriously. I know, people think, oh, because I'm half Norwegian, I live in Norway, I actually know some of his family, and I know his whole history since he was a kid, basically. I'll be very biased. Yeah, of course, there's probably some of that in there because I can see what's in him and I've seen him and what he can do. But objectively, even if you think objectively now, what other player is going to give you leadership, potential? He came straight into the team and gelled straight away in January. Now he's most likely going to do that again because he's already been with us. He knows what to do, right? He's not going to take time to develop like Kai Havertz, 80 million quid. He didn't start playing for Chelsea until right at the end of the season. You take into all these factors and what he can do and what he can actually do for this team. He's a leader as well for £30 million. Don't tell me that is not a fantastic football deal. That is a fantastic football deal because worst case scenario, in 2 or 3 seasons, if we haven't developed, we haven't moved along as a team, gone in the direction we hope we're going to go, Martin Odegaard is most likely, hopefully, touch wood, going to be a better player than he is today, and he's going to be worth more than 30 million quid. We could probably cash in on him and get 50 million or more. So it's good business all round. That's what it is. He's also on low wages. He's not on these ridiculous wages that we can't get rid of. So all round, it makes a hell of a lot of sense. So, for me, it's a no-brainer. It really is. Sorry, I went on a bit there, Daniel, but I thought I just needed to explain a few things that maybe people here on your channel don't realise.
Yeah, no, that's fine, mate. Do you know the thing is, right? I've said this about Odegaard. I said, listen, I'm not against the signing as I know some people are, but I'm not completely for it, and that's simply because I saw glimpses of a decent player when he came in on loan. But the way I'm looking at this deal is that, listen, let's be honest here, we ain't going to finish the season with Arteta as manager. I think it's clear to see that some point this season we're going to have a new manager. And maybe I'm throwing my eggs into that basket and preempting stuff that might not happen. But the way I look at it is, I actually think under a different manager that will take the handbrake off, I think Odegaard does have the potential to maybe not necessarily get the goals and assists that everybody kind of craves, but maybe gets the ball into the players that can get goals, and actually, I think Odegaard may get a couple of goals, but maybe not as many as I know a lot of people would like. But I don't know. Like I'm not against this signing as I know some people are. I actually look on this signing and think, who else is out there? I mean, I know. Look, I've always said that I would have preferred Maddison to come in, but even then, there's risks with Maddison because will he provide the goals and assists that Odegaard? Does he provide more goals and assists than Odegaard? I'm not so sure at this current time and moment.
No, I don't think so. And he costs a lot more.
I think the biggest problem, right? The biggest problem I have is this system and tactics. Look, we could have gone and got Aouar for 25 million.
Who's had a terrible season?
I still think there's a possibility that we could still go and get an Aouar because when you look at Aouar, Sam, he also plays. He can play. Yes, he can play in Odegaard's position, but he can also play a lot deeper. So he can sit alongside Partey as well. So there's scope there. There's scope in this team for us to go and get an Aouar. But whether that happens or not, it depends on this board. It does depend on this board, and it depends on whether they've got the ambition to go and do that. Because at the moment, Sam, I look at this transfer window, and yes, this transfer window has been a complete disaster, in my opinion. Like, I don't think we've done enough to address the areas that need addressing.
I don't agree, to be honest. I can see your points exactly, and your points are, you've got a lot of valid points there, but I don't think it's a disaster. I think that's a bit strong. I think what we've done is we've improved a lot on our squad, but we're still lacking in a couple of the key areas. And I agree that the key areas should have been priorities. That's what annoys me is we're still lacking what I'd say is a proper right back. We're still lacking a proper partner for Partey, who's a starting, top level partner in midfield. That should have been a priority. I also believe a striker should have been a priority. We need a lot better at the moment than what Lacazette and Aubameyang are providing. And I think they've been priorities that haven't been addressed, where we've gone and certainly improved the squad. I mean, the players who come in are definitely improvements on what we have. And we have now a very good backup left back. Who can potentially do a decent job on right back if needed. But yeah, we still need that top level right back to come in. Lokonga looks very promising, but he's not going to come in this season and be a big part of our season. Well, at least that's not the intention. There should be someone else ahead of him. And we're lacking a proper striker, in my opinion. I think Lacazette and Aubameyang are going to struggle to score goals. We're gonna struggle with production again because of that. Aouar for me then is not really a priority at the moment. I'd rather get a partner for Partey than Aouar, because now we've got Odegaard together with Smith Rowe. We've got a lot of creativity there. Saka, Pepe, creativity we should have enough of that. It's the finishing that's more worrying. Yeah, we've got a backup goalkeeper. I know that's a whole different can of worms. I don't think it's as bad as people think with Ramsdale. Granted, he's not a top level keeper yet at the moment. Yes, he's had some shaky moments, but I think we were looking more, longevity there, more ahead of time. He's still young. I don't think it's been a disaster of a transfer window, but yeah, we're still lacking a few important things. So for me, it's not good enough at the moment, but not a disaster because we've still made some decent improvements, in my opinion.
Comment here from Russ. He says Arsenal went to Brighton with 50 million and come back with the wrong player.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Russ there that I think Basuma would have done more for our team than Ben White. I mean, listen, Ben White's still an upgrade on Rob Holding, that's for sure, and Callum Chambers and Pablo Mari. That's for sure. You got to remember Ben White's also a player who's going to get better, and he's very calm on the ball. He's very good. He's a good ball playing defender, which we like. That's the way we like to play. So I can see why we got Ben White, but again, it wasn't the priority. We shouldn't have got him. We should have got Basuma or another, one of these other priorities ahead of Ben White. That's what baffles me a bit. It seems like we've gone out and got all the lower priorities, the low priorities, and the high priorities. We just struggle to get. We don't seem to be able to get them at the moment.
Yeah. Sam, who would you get as a striker? Because I see,
good question.
I see the striker position come up, and it's clear to see that obviously we need an upgrade, whether it be Aubameyang or Lacazette going. And I personally think I wouldn't be surprised if both of them go. But if we let both of them go, we're going to have to bring in either a top striker that can plug the goals for the both of them, or we're going to have to bring in two more, because we can't let both of them go and not bring in anybody. So who would you bring in?
A very good question, Daniel. It's a very good question. Just want to say very, very quickly to Arsenal Manic in the chat. I saw an earlier comment I just have to address very quickly. Sorry. And as he says, Real Madrid weren't in decline. Well, they were. If you look at the timeline from when he came in and what they've done since he came in, they were. Ancelotti was manager. He got sacked. Zidane took over. Didn't go very well. They brought back Ancelotti now. And that is a lot to do with the politics. In Real Madrid, there's also a lot of politics in terms of footballing. Erdegaard was doing really, really well for half a season. All of a sudden, he got dropped for still reasons no one really knows. I think Zidane was trying a different system, dropped Erdegaard, and then he never got a chance again, even though he played well. And that's one of the reasons why he wanted to go as well. That pissed him off. Anyway, we'll leave that aside now. We'll finish that. But yeah, striker. What if we had ambition and we had balls, which we don't? We would put some money in. We would try and get rid of Aubameyang, clear his wages off the books. Maybe also clear Lacazette. And Lewandowski's just come out and said he wants a new challenge, right? So I would put some money and some effort into Lewandowski. 32 years old, he's won everything already. Go out and get him. What an amazing striker we could have him for maybe 2 seasons, right? I mean, the guy can score blindfolded on his head, both feet. Lewandowski for me, if we had any ambition right now, but we don't. So we have to look at more realistic targets. So more realistic targets, I would say maybe see what this Edouard could do from Celtic. I would say maybe give maybe going for a little cheeky try for Ollie Watkins from Aston Villa, seeing what maybe he could do for us. Calvert-Lewin is another decent striker, but the thing is, I don't think Everton are gonna want to get rid of him, and he's probably going to cost a hell of a lot of money in their evaluation. It's a bit difficult, isn't it, with a striker at the moment?
I think if you're going to go and get Calvert-Lewin, who's probably going to cost around 70, 80 million, because I think that's what they'd want for him, I think you're probably better off just going to put it all in for Lewandowski. The only thing is with Lewandowski is, would he come to a team that ain't in Europe?
Well, the thing is,
that's the problem.
Yeah, that's a good question, and the thing is, and that's what I said. It is a hairy target in terms of it most likely is a bit above our level at the moment. But the things you have to look at is he's 32 now. I think I'm not sure quite how. I think he's at least 32. He's already won everything. He might. I think Arsenal could give him a really nice big payday, like they did with Aubameyang. That type of huge payday. Give him a really big signing on fee, and just see what he could do for Arsenal for 2 or 3 seasons. I would love to see that, but of course, like you say, he probably would want to still play at the top level in Europe and everything. So that's one of the things that's holding us back, I think, from all the top targets as well. Probably why Martinez at Inter Milan probably is also at the end of the day said, nah, not coming to you guys. I think it's holding us back. So that's why we have to look at slightly lower targets, like maybe an Ollie Watkins or this Edouard from Celtic. There's also another player.
Russ said Ivan Toney.
Ivan Toney's a decent shout from Brentford. He's a decent shout. We'll maybe see what he can do.
Sam, I've got to be honest. From what I've seen of him, and I know it's only 2 games, because I didn't really take much notice of him in the Championship. From what I've seen of him, I'm not sure that he is the right answer. Look, he might hit the ground running, and he might pick up his form and that. But the way that people have been bigging this guy up, do you know what I mean? I've not seen enough. Look, it's only 2 games. Brentford have only played 2 games in the Premiership, but I'm just keeping it grounded when it comes to Ivan Toney, because I'd like to see the way people are bigging this guy up. I want to see a lot more than what I've seen in these 2 games. Do you know what I mean? Going forward. I don't know. The striker position is a strange one for me. And it's a position. I don't know. Like, I kind of think if we can fill that midfield with one more decent midfield, I kind of think Balogun and Martinelli, if we can get the supply to Balogun and Martinelli, I think Balogun could probably do quite a good job this season. I don't know. For me, like, I look at the striker position, and I look at the striker position being a position, we need to fill. If we don't sell Aubameyang and Lacazette, then for me, I think the right back position is more of a key for me. If we can get a decent right back, and I'm just sitting there, Sam, right? Yeah. When it comes to this right back position, I'm sitting there and I'm looking at Max Aarons, who's been absolute quality for Norwich. And I watched him last week when he played against Liverpool. And I know obviously Liverpool kind of won. And obviously again today with Man City. But I just look at Max Aarons and I think you put him into this Arsenal team. He would, with him and with Tierney on one side, him on the other. I think that'd add balance to this defense, which it really needs.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, the right back position, because you look at the way the left flank of ours is working, with Tierney is working very, very well, but the right flank is not. We need someone who's a dynamic attacking player who can attack as well as defend, like Tierney. Aarons does look like he could fit that bill. There are other potential targets as well, but I agree. Right, this is why I said right back is also a priority, because you have to have that both sides. You can't have one side that's your obvious attacking side that everyone knows how to counter. We need to be able to do the same on both sides, right? And that's where Aarons could possibly come in.
Yeah, Russ says Maitland-Niles should do what he's asked to and play wing back. I think Maitland-Niles is gone, to be honest.
Yeah, he's not good enough there either.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, it's interesting to see what happens in it. This next 11 days of the transfer window, or however many days it is, I think it shuts next Tuesday. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, whether we do bring in anybody else.
Yeah, we do. I think we'll see one or two. I think we'll see a few players go now. I think we'll sort of get like desperate last minute deals done for maybe a few of these guys. Some loans. Some cheap deals for some of the real rubbish, just to get them out the door last minute type of thing. Because when you normally get a few cheeky bids come in at the last minute, we'll probably say, okay, we'll do that just to get them out of the door. So I think we'll probably see a few players go out. In terms of coming in, we might see one or two, I think, maybe come in, whether it's going to be top level in those, key positions we're missing. I don't know. I would love to see that happen. But, at the moment, it's not looking so great at the moment, is it? We're about 10 days away now from the end of the transfer window. Still time. Of course, 10 days is more than enough time to get a deal through. But, it's not looking great at the moment, is it? And like we're saying, what kind of realistic targets can we get in terms of like a striker? We need a striker. What's a realistic target? I said, Lewandowski, but he's not very realistic at the moment, if we're honest. But, who is realistic? Can we get a Calvert-Lewin? Probably not, because he's probably maybe not even going to want to come to Arsenal at this time. It's going to be very expensive. Ollie Watkins, he's still quite young. Could maybe do something. Again, he's not like top level. Same as Edouard at Celtic. He looks okay, but is he top level? We don't know. In terms of top level strikers out there, it's not easy at the moment, is it? It doesn't look like we can do anything in that respect. We might have to just look at maybe younger, more up and coming players, and give them a chance and just see if that can work, maybe.
Yeah, it's not easy, and I still feel with this club, if they can pull one big transfer out just to excite the fans, I think it'd give everyone a lift. Because I still don't think we've had that at the moment. You know what I mean? I still don't think we've had that one big signing that gets everybody excited.
Yeah, I'd love to see some big signing, yeah.
I think the club needs it.
Yeah, definitely. And we've always had this throughout our history, right? We've always had a big signing. That's the thing. We've sometimes been quite mediocre, and all of a sudden we put out a big signing, like a Charlie Nicholas or some of these players. All of a sudden we were really not looking great, mid-90s there, and all of a sudden Bruce Rioch, the one good thing he actually did do in his one season of coming and disappearing was get Dennis Bergkamp. We got Dennis Bergkamp, a big player from Italy who wanted a new challenge. The rest is history, as they say. We managed to get we managed to go out and get after that we managed to go out and get players like Özil, Sanchez. We have managed to get big players. It's happened. We just need to do it again. We really do. But at the moment, back then we still had European football and all of that. It's now, I just don't see a big name coming in at the moment because they do want that competitive, they want to play football and be at the top level. And, right now we're just not doing it. I think it'd be different if we can get back into the Champions League or back into Europe at least. I think maybe then we can start looking a bit more at the top shelf now. But I think if you look at it like we're in the supermarket now, I think at the moment we're not being able to shop from the top shelf at the moment. Unfortunately, that's what it looks like.
Yeah, look, there's 23 of you in the chat. Hit the like button, hit subscribe if you are new. Would really appreciate that. Let's come on to tomorrow's fixture, because this is one that you could probably say is a must-win game for Arteta, because if he loses it tomorrow, we touched upon it earlier, it's going to get very toxic. Where do you see us winning this game, Sam, if we have any chance at all? Because obviously they're going to probably start Lukaku, who's probably going to run absolute rings around our defence.
Depends how fit he is and ready to go he is, right? But yeah, potentially that does look scary, the Lukaku matchup against our central defenders. Yeah. For the game tomorrow, for me, if they're using Azpilicueta, or whatever his name's so difficult to pronounce, if they're using him down the right-hand side, we have half a chance with Tierney and Saka down there if Saka's playing. Again, I think we need Saka for something to happen tomorrow. We have half a chance getting in there. If Saka's not playing, I think we're going to have more of a hard time. It's going to be difficult. Their midfield and their attack is very good, but I think their defence can be got to, like I said, through Azpilicueta to their right back. Their defence sometimes can be a bit off. So yeah, it's not impossible. Even though Tuchel is a very good manager. Is going to get them playing very well, and now he knows how to. I think he's learned more how to play against us now because he was still very, very new when we beat him at the end of last season. Tuchel's a fantastic manager. He's going to get them firing for sure tomorrow. So but at the end of the day, I mean, they can be got to, and like we said, in the introduction, we have this ability to sort of just show up against Chelsea, and we seem to be their bogey team. So I hope, of course, it happens tomorrow. But like I said, there's so many different factors now. Their team is so much better at the moment. You look at their team, basically player for player, it's basically worlds ahead of us at the moment. And with Tuchel, who's not Frank Lampard, let's be honest, Tuchel actually knows what he's doing. He's got that team playing really, really well. I think it's going to be a lot harder than recent years against Chelsea. And, I think it's going to be a real struggle tomorrow. I really do. I don't think we're going to get thrashed like a lot of, neutrals and Chelsea fans like to think. I don't think that's going to happen, but it's going to be a tight game. It can be a tight game, a win by 1 goal either way, maybe, or maybe a draw. I think that's the way I'm looking at it at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I look at this game tomorrow and I think if we can, I don't know, if we can get a draw out of it, obviously we need a win, but I think a draw, look, I don't see where the goals are coming from at the moment, because obviously I don't think Odegaard can play. I don't think he was cleared in time for this game. I don't know. I just don't see how we're going to win this game. I mean, looking at that midfield, Sam, would you start? Who would be your starting midfield? Like, what would be your starting midfield? Because I obviously not a big fan of Granit Xhaka. So would you start Granit Xhaka, or would you go with Partey and Lokonga? Because
is Partey ready?
I'm not entirely sure. I think it was.
I don't think so.
Is he not ready? Is he not back?
No, I don't think he's ready tomorrow, Partey, unfortunately.
Well, then it's gonna be the statue, in it. Granit Xhaka and Lokonga. I like the look of this Lokonga. This Lokonga looks like
he looks good,
really good. Yeah.
But against their central midfield, right? It's gonna be a bit short, isn't it? But you never know. Let's see if they show up tomorrow, put in their performance. I think we've got the. I think, like I said, I think we've got the speed and ability to beat their defense. I think we can get at their defense. That's their one minor weakness, I think, is their defense. But but we have to win the midfield battle. If their midfield tomorrow is really up for it, we might struggle. Lokonga, we have to. This is going to be his first major test, most likely. If we don't play Elneny instead, that's the thing. I don't know if he's going to go for Elneny instead and go for like a Shaw, just to try and shore up the midfield. Keep the ball a bit and all of that with interplay with defense. Try and keep a balance in the team type of thing, not go too adventurous. He might go for Elneny and Xhaka. I'm just thinking out loud here now that Lokonga might be, he might just be a bit too raw, a bit too fresh yet for a Chelsea game. We'll see. We'll see if he gets the nod tomorrow. I would like to see him given a game because he does look so promising. So it really depends on who we line up with as usual. That's the thing. Another thing with Arteta is you never know who's going to line up with. He's only lined up with the same lineup twice in basically 2 seasons. So, it's a lottery. It's a lottery. You can't win with him guessing the lineup. So, just really depends. I mean, who's going to play right back? Is he going to go for Callum Chambers? Is he going to go for Maitland-Niles? Is Tavares all of a sudden going to show up at right back? We don't know really. There's so many unknown factors there with everything. But yeah, I mean, it's but that's for sure. Like you said, our midfield, it has to be absolutely firing on all cylinders, and most likely it's going to be Xhaka. I think we're probably going to see Elneny ahead of Lokonga because I don't think he's going to let Lokonga come in against Chelsea, but we'll see.
Yeah. And, you make a good point. Arteta's never started the same lineup. That's probably why they've got the consistency of custard right now. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, honestly,
Yeah.
it is. It is. Our team is got a soft-centered midfield, and we've got the consistency of custard. It's insane, mate. But yeah, you're right. And I look at Chelsea, and obviously we lost to them in pre-season. I know a lot of people don't really like to take pre-season games into account, but I just look at this. I just look at this Arsenal team, and I look at the Chelsea team, and actually, I just don't see how we're getting a win unless we're really on it. I know we got a great record against Chelsea. Our record's got a lot better in recent years, but I don't know. I think the fact that we're at home might be good, but I don't know. I think it's gonna go either one of two ways. We're either gonna win, and the fans will be on side, or we're gonna go down a couple of goals very early. And let's not forget, like I said, this atmosphere and that's going to turn very toxic if we go a couple of goals down. And I'm just not sure that the players have the mental capacity to withstand that.
Yeah, no, you got to make some good points there. There's a lot there. Hinging on what happens tomorrow during the game. And the lineup's very, very key to that. Is he going to give Lokonga? Who's still very raw, very new. Is he going to give him that huge responsibility against a team like Chelsea? There's other question marks. Who's going to play at right back? Who's going to play up front? Is Saka going to play? Is he fit and ready to go now? I hope so. I think he is. There's those question marks there that all of them affect how we're going to play and how we're going to be set up. I would like to see us really go back to a back three. That suits Ben White very well. That's been our best time we've played under Arteta was with the back three, playing that sort of hybrid 3-4-3 formation. I think that is more of the key of what we should be looking into right now, instead of playing with a back four and two holding, two midfield pivots that just generally keep us, very, very sort of, we don't really attack with that. We're just so static when we play that way. So I'd like to see us go over to a 3-4-3, 3 at the back again. But I don't know, is Arteta going to do that all of a sudden after one game against Brentford, or is he going to keep doing the same thing? It's going to be interesting to see. There's so many unknown things at the moment for tomorrow.
It is. It is gonna be interesting. Because I would go as far as to say Arteta's job's on the line. If we lose, Sam, then there's a big possibility. How long do you see Arteta lasting?
You know what? I have I have this sneaky suspicion that unless he really shits the bed and we really start to go on a losing streak, which basically makes his position untenable. I think if he gets a few points here and there and sort of keeps us out of relegation, keeps us mid-table and above, I think he's going to stay in the job, because I think all of this investment that's going into the team now, into these players that they've chosen, Edu and Arteta basically have chosen for Arsenal's short and long-term future. I think Arteta, they want Arteta to be given the chance to shape that. I really do. I'm completely against Arteta. I was very early out against Arteta because I could see what he was doing wasn't working, and I'd love to bring in another manager to see what they could do. But you just see the way this club works at the executive level. The kind of things they do and obviously don't do. I just have this feeling that unless he completely shits the bed and makes his own position untenable, if he stays mid-table and above, I think they're going to keep him in the job. That's what I think. If he goes below mid-table, keeps slides down close to relegation as what happened last season, then I think they're going to have to pull the trigger, because that becomes untenable in my view. And if they don't, if we're after 4, 5, 6, 7 games, if we are down close to relegation or in relegation zone at that point, and they don't pull the trigger, well, I can tell you the Emirates is going to pull the trigger for them, because there'll be a meltdown. They'll probably start tearing the seats out at Emirates. So, yeah, it's going to be so toxic if they don't do something then. So, yeah, that's I think that, like I said, that would be untenable for Arteta. But I think they've got a lot of time now, and I think they're giving him a long rope because of the long-term vision that seems to be with these signings.
Yeah. I don't know. I know there's a lot of Arsenal fans, and me included, just calling out for Arteta to go. Just when you look at who's available, and listen, I know it's a world away, and the likelihood of us getting Conte is probably next to zero, because would he come and work with this board? But I just look at it, and we've made so many mistakes. We kept Wenger too long when we could have had Klopp. Yep. When we got rid of Emery, we could have got Mourinho. We could have got Allegri. Yep. And I just look at it now that the club's in a mess. And the one thing that I cling on to, Sam, and I don't know whether there's any truth to this, is because the board have backed him, like they've never backed Emery. Listen, they never really backed Emery in the way that they backed Arteta. So if it goes belly up, will they keep him because they've spent so much? Like, they have backed him. They fully backed him, gave him, the players that are here today, the ones that we've signed, are because Arteta's signed them, not because Edu signed them. I think these signings that we've made are all on Arteta. I think if Arteta had said, and I genuinely believe this, right? Yeah, if Arteta had said, I want, Basuma, and I want this player on that, they would have happened. Do you know what I mean? They would have fully happened. So I genuinely believe every player that we've got is because Arteta wants him.
Yes, I agree. They are the targets.
So if it goes belly up, I'm not sure I don't know. Like I completely take your point about the way the club run, and you speak a lot of sense, but I just look on it differently and just think, do you know what? Because they've thrown so much money and backed him, I just wonder if they'll pull the plug, because they've given him his money, they've given him the tools to rebuild the team, and this is under a different manager, there's more to get from these players.
Exactly, I agree.
There's a lot more to get from these players. Yep. And also I see murmurings in the dressing room, which is, if, say, Aubameyang and Lacazette stay, and if they go to, say, an Edu and go, do you know what, we're not happy with Arteta's tactics. And from the reports I've been reading, a lot of players are unhappy with the training sessions. If they put pressure and say, listen, I want this guy out. Remember a similar thing happened with Unai Emery. Do you remember the reports and the pictures coming out of them not really listening in training, them not taking it in? Yeah. And then a couple of days later or a couple of weeks later, he was sacked. I see a similar thing happening with Arteta. I think if these players go higher up than Arteta, I think they're going to oust Arteta rather than get rid of all these bad apples.
Well, that's the easiest option. The manager it's much easier to get rid of the manager and bring in a different manager to try and work with the team. That is the easiest option for sure, than to try and change 10, 12, 15 players again. That's for sure. And that's why I said, I think you started to say the same as well, Daniel, at the end of last season, right at the end of last season, that we shouldn't be giving Arteta this transfer window. He should have been sacked at the end of last season. We should have brought in a different manager who would really want to try and build our future with, a top level manager, and we're giving that manager the transfer window to buy their players they think we need for our future, together with that manager. So yeah, then you're right. We are potentially in a situation where Arteta has to go maybe after 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games. And yeah, and he's got all his players in, like we said, and the next manager has to try and do the best out of that. But I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think a better manager can get a lot more out of this team. I mean, you look at these players. If you look at our best 11, fully fit, in form, that they are a good team. I'm not saying we're going to challenge for the league. We're not there, but I think we're good enough to challenge for top 4. I really do. If we're all fully fit, ready to go, and used in the right way, I think we're good enough to challenge for top 4. And that is the type of target we should be going for. We should be close to top 4. Maybe worst case scenario, a Europa League spot at the end of the season. And we've got a good enough team for that. We've got, Saka, we've got Emil Smith Rowe, we've got Erdogan now, we've got Pepe, who should be finding some form now, improving. We got the likes of Partey, who was looking fantastic before he got injured. The poor guy. Again, if we can get him back into full form again, the way he was looking pre-season, I think he's going to improve us a lot in midfield. Ben White, I think, will develop and become better. Gabriel, if he can start finding some form again, is a fantastic defender. Tierney is arguably one of our best players. Gives us so much. The right back is a bit of a weakness, isn't it? But the point is, we've got enough players there, and if Lacazette can find a bit of form, he can score some goals as well. But the thing is, we have a team that's good enough to be up there. And I think with the right manager doing the right things with this team, finding the right tactics, finding the right way of getting this team to play together, you can get a lot more out of them. You just can. It's just as simple as that. And for me, there are so many examples of this. You've got Dean Smith at Aston Villa, what he got out of them. Don't tell me that the Aston Villa team was better than us on paper last season. They weren't. But what he got out of them was fantastic, and they played really well. Same with Moyes at West Ham. Even the West Ham supporters who we were on some of these shows with before the West Ham game at the beginning of last season, and even just before the season, they thought they were going to be struggling close to relegation. That's what they thought, and they had turmoil at their club with all this ownership rubbish going on. Even with all of that going on, David Moyes still managed to get a song out of those players, and you saw the fantastic results they ended up getting. So this whole it's all down to the players malarkey, you just don't buy it. And then there's all this 3 managers couldn't get a sing song out of this team. Well, maybe the 3 managers weren't good enough. I mean, Wenger at the end of his tenure wasn't a very, very. I mean, yes, he was a better manager than Arteta he was a better manager than Arteta probably ever will be, even at the end of his tenure. And the same with Emery. So he'll probably be a much better manager than what Emery ever will be. But he was at the end of his tenure. Things weren't really working well. He was doing silly things. He was finished. Wenger was finished. So he wasn't doing very well. And then Emery comes in. Not great. Ljungberg wasn't a manager. He was just a stopgap. And then you got this guy, the amateur, the amazing amateur, Arteta. You can't just say, it's always the players. It's actually these managers as well. They haven't been good enough. It's as simple as that. These managers have not been good enough with these players. So, I would like to see a real good top-level manager, a Conte, a Ten Hag, someone like that come in and actually see what they can do with these players. I would love to see that, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, we have come pretty much to the end of the show, but before we wrap up, Sam, do you have a score prediction?
It's a tough one, this one, really tough, but I do unfortunately think we're going to lose tomorrow 2-1. That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, Sam, it's been a pleasure having you on. As always, you know, it's always always a pleasure talking to you. You got some great points.
Cheers, mate. And just want to say to Omar, Martin Ødegaard. That is the Norwegian way of saying his name, all right? You got it here first, all right, mate?
Definitely. Sam, do you just want to, because you don't have a channel, do you? Anymore?
No, I used to have a channel. It's too much hassle, mate. Too much hassle. I enjoy coming on as a guest with you on your channel, with the other guys I go on. You know, I'll go on some of the other guys' channels, like with Ryan, the Mr. Arsenal podcast, with Scott on the Red Cannon. I'm also with the American lads, the Arsenal fan circle, very late on a Thursday night UK time for the American evening audience there. I enjoy coming on as a panelist, as a guest. I really enjoy that. We always have a good debate. We always have some good stuff to talk about. The guests here in your chat, all the guys in the chat are always fantastic here. There's a lot of the same guys that keep coming back, and they're fantastic, really good. I see there's some new names in here since last time, which is good. Shows you things are going in the right direction. But yeah, it's such a great bunch of guys in here, such a great atmosphere, great chat and everything. So much good points being discussed. I really love it. And that's basically what I'm doing. I'm just jumping around all over. You can follow me on Twitter if you want, at 1980_Greenwood. You can see I'm normally added in the different shows and that. You can pick it up from there. But yeah, give me a follow and I'll follow you back, of course. Always nice to discuss Arsenal. I just want to say thank you very, very much, Daniel, for having me again. It's been a pleasure. Always nice to come on here and talk to you. And I hope we can do it again soon.
Yeah, definitely. Well, listen, guys, do hit that like button. Do hit that subscribe button on your way out. We'd really appreciate it. I'll be back tomorrow with the Arsenal-Chelsea review and the fans phone in. Until then, guys, listen, all take care and have a wonderful evening.